Assalamualaikum and hi to our lecturer to Miss Wan Shahira binti Wan Ramli. We are going to present about our assignment, which is descriptive study about transportation among UiTM Raup students. Transportation, such as bus, car, planes, and more, is a platform that takes us from one place to another place. The increasing level of modernity is caused modernization in transportation as well, where the transport can explore anywhere in a short time travel. As a part of student in Malaysia, transportation is one of things that students really need, and just not us only, but all over students around Malaysia or overseas. On weekends, generally it's time to hang out, so the demand for transportation like Grab or any kind of transportation is very high. Due of that, the driver not enough because of the booking is always full every single time. Their charge fee is based on a person in a car or the distance. So, this study we only focus on UiTM Raup students to help us to done this issue. The first objective is to study the transportation problem among UiTM Raup students. Second, to determine types of transportation that the student most prefer. Third, to determine how much money the UiTM students spend on transportation in a month. Fourth, to investigate how often UiTM students rent the transport. Lastly is to determine the exact time that the majority of students prefer to use the transportation.
Let's move on to the methodology part. In this part, I will explain the description of data that we use for analyzing transportation among UiTM students. The population is a collection of every potential observation of a particular property. The UiTM Pahang's campus Raup is where the analysis was done. This population includes every student enrolled in the first through 6 semesters of BA119, BA111, CS110, CS111, and AM110 at UiTM Campus Raup. We choose 91 students from UiTM Campus Raup who will participate in the classes BA119, BA111, CS111, and AM110 for the sample. The stratified sampling technique was used to choose a sample from the 91 student population, which is separate into 4 strata: BA119-3A, BA111-2C, CS111-4A, and AM110-2A. There are processes in this sampling technique. This is how we choose the size sample from the size population. There are 91 students in the 4 classes who are from BA119-3A, BA111-2C, CS111-4A, and AM110-2A. Then, from each class, we calculate the size sample that we will use for the analysis. The total of students from each class is 25, 21, 28, and 17. And then after that, divide into 91 students and multiply by 41, which is the total of students that we get from the questionnaire. So 41 students will be selected that we use for the sample.
Now, I will explain about data collection method and method of analysis. The data collection method that we use in this study is internet survey by using Google Form. The link of Google Forms were sent through WhatsApp application because it's easy for the respondent to answer. The survey was carried out from June 21 to June 29, 2022. Next, I will show you the table description of data from our group. From this data, we have divided the questions for two parts, which is part A and part B. For part A, the variable are gender, semester, and course. The types of these three variables is qualitative, while the scale of measurement is nominal. In part B, we start with question number 4. From the table, we can see for question 4 and 5, the types of variable for both questions are qualitative, while for the scale of measurement for question 4 is ordinal and for question 5 is nominal. Next, for question 6, the types of variable is quantitative and for scale of measurement is interval. Last but not least, questions 7 and 8. The types variable for question 7 is qualitative, while for question 8 is quantitative. For scale of measurement in question 7 is ordinal and for question 8 is interval. Method of analysis. In this study, appropriate methods of analysis have been employed in order to achieve the objective of this study. The data was described by using descriptive and graphical methods. There were 4 objectives for this study. The first objective was analyzed by using a pie chart. Besides, for the second objective was analyzed by using a simple bar chart, while for the third objective was analyzed by using clustered column graph. Lastly, for the fourth and fifth objective, we use 3D clustered column chart and donut chart.
Next, we are going to the findings part, where in this part, we analyzed all the data that we got from the respondents and we illustrated them into several types of charts. Firstly, the pie chart above shows about the transportation problems among UiTM Raup students. According to the pie chart, there is only 3 out of 41 students at UiTM Raup had a problem with cleanliness, while 10 of them identified safety as their main transportation issue. However, 29% of the students chose fares too expensive, and the majority of the students, which is 39% of 4 classes voted, takes too long as their main problem while using transportation in UiTM Raup. This can be concluded that most of the students agreed that takes too long as their main issue while using the transportations. Next, the bar chart above shows the types of transportation that UiTM Raup students most preferred. We can see that there were only 9.8% of students that preferred bus as their favorite transportation in UiTM Raup. Besides, 17.1% of students from 4 classes preferred to use a van, and lastly a car, led with 73.2% of students choosing it as the best transportation that they usually use in UiTM Raup. This has shown that almost all students from UiTM Raup prefer car compared to bus and van as their transportation to go anywhere. Moving to the next data, the above clustered column graph displays how much money that UiTM Raup students spend on transportation in a month. The majority of the students, which are 39% in total, spend 0 to 10 Malaysian ringgit on transportation in a month, followed by 11 to 20 Malaysian ringgit, which indicates 26.8% of students. Next, 14.6% of the students spends between 21 to 30 Malaysian ringgit on transportation in a month, while the remaining 8 students, who made up 19.5% of the sample, spent 31 Malaysian ringgit and above. This suggests that the majority of students at UiTM Raup only spends 0 to 10 Malaysian ringgit on transportations per month. Alright, next, the bar chart above shown the frequency of UiTM Raup rent the transportation.
It is indicating that most of the students prefer rent the transportation several times a week, with 41.5% compared to daily use, where it was only 9.8% of students. However, 17.1% of the students prefer to rent the transportation weekly, and the remaining 31.7% of students from 4 classes in UITM route rent the transportation 7 times in a month only. This proves that the majority of students prefer renting transportation several times a week. Last but not least, the donut chart above indicates the exact time that the majority of UITM route students prefer to use the transportation. It illustrates that only 6 out of 41 students of UITM route students prefer to use transportation in the morning, compared to the other 15 students that love to use the transportation in the evening. However, 29% of the students still prefer to rent the transportation at night, and the other 19% of the students prefer to use it in the afternoon. This means that most of the students in UITM route usually rent transportation in the evening and at night. So that is all from us. Thank you so much for watching, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.